Are you headed to Destin, Florida, and you've got a few questions you want answered? Well, we put together a list of the most frequently asked questions that we get as locals right here in Destin, Florida. Let's get into it. First off, look at my eye. It's so messed up. Oh, I like popped a blood vessel or something. I'm not really sure what's going on. I think I'm gonna stand a little bit further back as we go over all of these great frequently asked questions that we get right here in Destin. We appreciate you watching. Listen, if you guys want to learn everything there is to know about Destin and the surrounding areas, make sure you hit that subscribe button and then tap that little bell so that you'll be notified every time we do a new video. You won't miss it. Something like 84% of y'all are not subscribed, so we'd really like to have you guys on here so that you continually get bombarded by our great videos. Just kidding. Sort of. All right, probably one of the most commonly asked questions we get as a local here in Destin is, of course, an obvious one. I feel like this is the most popular question just about anytime you go someplace to visit, at least when you're on vacation or hanging out in the area for a short period of time, or maybe even living here. And that's, what are some of the best places to eat right here in Destin? Now, we're just talking about Destin. I'm not going into Miramar, Santa Rosa Beach, Fort Walton, any of the surrounding areas that we go to, but just mainly that little strip of Destin that everybody loves so much. So obviously it's going to matter on what kind of food you want for me to really kind of tailor it to you, but let's get started with breakfast food. I feel like breakfast food is pretty much not the same in every area by any stretch of the imagination, but it's like its own little category, you know? And I think for breakfast, some of the better places to eat at are the donut hole. You get these great home, like, well, not home, they're obviously cooked in a restaurant, but they feel home baked. They feel like something somebody made for you. They've also got a pretty good menu outside of that. The pancakery is really good. The pancakes, obviously it's in the name, but the pancakes are just incredible. The rest of the food's pretty good too. They'll throw a bunch of powdered sugar. It's really good. I've only been there a few times because breakfast isn't really my thing, and neither are sweets, but when I have gone, it has been absolutely amazing. Oh, and I can't forget another Broken Egg. Great restaurant right here in Destin as well. So if you are visiting here, you're looking for some breakfast, recharge, and get ready for your whole day, those are three of the spots that I recommend. All right, now for everything else, lunch and dinner. Well, first I'm gonna go for lunch. My favorite place in all of Destin, well, probably not my favorite. I'll save my favorite for here in a second, but it's a very close second, at least for seafood. I personally like harbor docks. So keep in mind that Destin is an entire fishing village. In fact, it's got like the self-proclaimed second biggest fleet in the world, or maybe it's the first biggest. I can't remember, or in the country, I could be misspeaking there, but a lot of fish comes in and out of Destin, and a lot of it comes in right from harbor docks. And they actually take this food, and a lot of our restaurants do this. This is not just harbor docks. This is a good chunk of our coastal and even some of our non-coastal restaurants. They take the fish right off of the boat, right into the kitchen. You can actually go in harbor docks if you go at the right time. You will watch them removing the fish right from the boat, and then you're getting served that fish, right? So it's pretty incredible. Their menu changes all the time. It's really good, but I suggest it for lunch. Listen, no fault on harbor docks, but it seems to me, I could be wrong, that the menu basically stays the same for dinner, and then the prices go up pretty dramatically. So, you know, take that with it what it will, you know, what it is. Maybe it is a little bit different, I don't know, but it always seems kind of the same to me, so I'd just rather pay the lower price. They've also got great views, of course, as most of the restaurants here in our list do, or a good chunk of them do. And they've got sushi as well, which I've actually never tried. There's always something on the menu that just sounds amazing, and I get it, and it's just incredible. Just stuff that I normally wouldn't get. So that's my favorite little lunch spot. Now for other types of food, like Italian, you've got places like Mimo's, which is pretty good. You've got Louisiana, I'm gonna butcher this, Louisiana Lignap. You look it up, it's very hard to spell. We'll actually just put it somewhere here on the screen. So that's another great one that's got kind of a wide variety of food there. We've got some of the tourist style areas like Margaritaville. We've got Lulu's, which is Buffett's sister, from what I have heard, that opened up that restaurant. So they've got the same kind of fun feel. You know, it's got a little beach area for the kids to play in with the little park style thing, and it's got kind of that margarita feel. And there's, of course, a Margaritaville, and let's see, other tourist areas, McGuire's. If you have not gone to McGuire's here in the area, you've got to. It's a fun experience. It's an Irish bar, and well, Irish, I guess, eatery, bar, pizza, steak, probably some of the better steak in Destin. And I know I shouldn't be saying that about a chain or a tourist trap, if you will, but it is really good steak. Their menu also consists of things like shepherd's pie and all this other stuff. They have these amazing drinks if you are into adult beverages. They brew their own beer, so they will have generally generally. I want to say it's 4 or 5 taps of their regular stuff. And the regular, you know, their red's really good. That's my personal favorite for beer. And then they generally have a seasonal as well. And then they've got specialty drinks such as the Irish Wake, which is served in a mason jar. Just be very careful about this, especially if you are driving and you're getting an Irish Wake or any of their mixed drinks, because they do 2-ounce pours or 1.5-ounce pours, whatever it is. It's more than the normal bar. So the drinks are a little bit strong, and an Irish Wake has like 7 of these shots in it or something like that. Maybe it's 5. I don't remember. Should have looked it up before we started, but it's really good. It's a little bit sweet. It's got some orange juice and stuff in there, and it's just green. You get to take home the mason jar if you're, you know, sober enough to remember it. So great little spot there as far as kind of tourist places you should definitely check out. Now there's another great place for seafood called AJ's. There's several AJ's in the area. It's one of my favorite places to go for oysters. I don't know what it is. They do them right. Even when they're raw, like I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they're shucking them different or what it is, but their oysters are very, very good. They also do cooked oysters, steamed oysters. They've got one called Oysters AJ's or AJ's Oysters or something like that. And it's like cheese, jalapeno. It's basically like a little tiny pizza just with an oyster instead of, you know, bread. All right, my favorite place to eat. I know this is a lot of stuff that I'm talking about for food, but most people that are visiting here or coming through or moving here are going to want several different options. So I want this so you can keep coming back to it if you would like. My favorite place personally is Landshark Pizza. Listen, it's just the greatest pizza. They have this one called the Diablo, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's got nothing but just hot stuff on it. It'll burn you, but it's like a really good burn. It's my favorite thing, my favorite pizza in all of the Panhandle. And trust me, I tried a bunch. In fact, I had a buddy down here visiting, and that was his goal for 3 months. He was like, I want to find the best pizza in the area. Now he said that there was another one in a different city he liked more, but me personally, I definitely like Landshark. And then there's also a restaurant called Moe's, which I heard a couple of years ago, they were in the top 10 for best barbecue in either Florida or the country. I can't remember. It's really good though. They've got this big light on top that basically tells you if they have food left. And it's one of those places you're going to go there. It's going to be packed. At least it was. It's been probably at least a year since I've been there. So I don't know if it's the same, but it seemed like to me, whenever we were there, they were running out of stuff. I remember we only had so many options, but that's because they could only cook so much in these smokers and they're that popular. All right, maybe you're visiting and you want to know the best time of year to visit. And I kind of think that depends on what you're looking for, as with, you know, anything, right? So in the summer, you're definitely going to have more crowds, but that's going to come with a lot more, well, things to do with other people, right? So you want to get out on the boat. You want to go to our famed Crab Island where most of the local goes. I did a whole video on this, but it's basically a sandbar underneath the water. Take your boat, take a taxi. They actually have water taxis, I kid you not, that you can just jump right on. They'll drop you off. Some of the water taxis even have another boat sitting there. You can put all your stuff. It's got some shade over it, so if you get a little bit too much. And then the water is anywhere from about 2 feet deep down to 4 to 6 feet deep, depending on, of course, tides and then where you're at on the sandbar. So definitely a really good place to hang out. It's a lot of fun. It is BYOB, so keep that in mind. They're not allowed to sell alcohol on the water anymore. So if you are trying to get alcoholic beverages, then you need to bring that with you or just stay sober. But who wants to do that? That's no fun, right? Kidding. So for most of your water sports, summer is going to be pretty good. There's going to be a lot more out there, just a lot more things to see. But just keep in mind that comes with crowds and that comes with heat. It gets very hot out here. So, you know, we might top out at 90 to 100 degrees, but it might feel like 170,000. Like it's incredibly warm feeling because we're right next to the water. You would think we get an ocean breeze. A lot of people ask me that question. They're like, well, you got that ocean breeze cooling everything down. And it's like, yeah, you do if you're on the island or on Holiday Isle or near the water on Crab Island, yes, definitely. But if the waters or the wind is stale or, you know, you're just not near those places, it does get pretty warm, so expect to sweat. It's gonna feel like you got out of the shower all the time. It's a part of it, that's it. Now you come during the fall or spring, that's gonna get lessened a little bit. The crowds are also gonna get lessened. Prices are typically going to be a little bit less. In fact, it always kind of boggles my mind why more people don't come during those times, but I think a lot of it falls with school and work schedules and things like that, and just overall vacation schedules. And if you are coming from someplace maybe up north or someplace much colder and you want to come to a more easy to handle climate, great area to do this in. Our winters are like, you know, 40 at the lowest, like during the worst parts, and of course all the way up to 60. So for a lot of people coming from up north, that's a very temperate temperature for them, right? So that's definitely a very popular time to go, particularly for snowbirds, older folks. It's not always older folks for snowbirds, by the way. That's just what we call them when they come during the winter time. But a big advantage of this too is your vacation is a lot cheaper most of the time, because instead of renting by the week, you can actually rent some of these Airbnb, VRBOs, vacation condos, vacation homes. You can do those on a monthly basis at that point. And this is good for the owner because they won't have vacancy, and you get a heck of a price. And if you can't get it for the monthly price, still the weekly price is much cheaper. Okay, now let's talk about some things to do that are a little bit outside of the box. I'll start with kind of the more obvious ones. So I guess these ones aren't outside of the box, right? So Crab Island, that's when you come down here, you got to go to Crab Island. It's just a good time, especially if you like being out in the sun, having some cold beverages, some cold brews, whatever. If you don't like that kind of scene, stay on the outskirts or stay near the children's stuff. So you've got these huge inflatable things for the kids to climb on and have a good time and slide down and jump in the water on this like inflatable thing that's like 30 feet in the air, or it's really like 15 feet. But stay near that area because you're generally going to get less shenanigans. And then don't go during a really big weekend if you don't want to see the craziness, because people get absolutely crazy. You'll see drunk people at like noon or like 11 or 10 sometimes, like just annihilated drunk, not just like a little bit. So just keep that in mind. For the most part, it stays fairly exciting, but not overwhelming or not like you feel unsafe in any capacity. So yeah, try to stay away from some of the other boaters, especially as the day goes on longer and longer, because a lot of them are just, they don't know what they're doing. So just be safe. On top of going to Crab Island via either ferry or any of those options, maybe even renting a pontoon boat, you can also rent jet skis. They're kind of pricey per hour. Some of them go all the way up to like $200 an hour, depending on what season you're in, but they are a blast. I mean, these things go 50 to 70 miles an hour. Actually, the first one I rented, I think went up to 70 miles per hour, and I was so excited because I was like, this is like how fast I go in a car on a highway. This is incredible to be just skating across the water this way. And then I rented them again a couple weeks ago, and I actually think maybe it was on kilometers on that one, because same place I rented from, same style of jet ski, same brand, and I was topped out at about 55 miles per hour, and it actually said MPH, and I remember looking at that distinctly for it. But anyway, jet skis are a really good time. Make sure you stay in the, don't go in the Gulf, okay? Unless you're a very experienced on a jet ski, I would not go in the Gulf. Don't do it in your pontoon boats either. They're not made for it. Going through the East Pass, which is just over Destin into the Gulf of Mexico, into the ocean, is very dangerous. It's a dangerous pass. It's you got to be a boater full time to really feel comfortable doing that. And then with the jet skis, if you want to go get some speed, I know it's kind of rough on the waters, just make sure you go out into the bay a little bit more or find the canals. Just keep in mind that as the canals get smaller and smaller, you don't want to cause a lot of wakes as people's boats are in there. So you want to slow that down. And then of course, just be safe while you're out there. All right, the next one is kind of an obvious one. You're going to Destin, Florida. You're gonna see the beach while you're here, at least you should. I'm not gonna beat this subject very hard. Just remember to bring your sunblock, lots of water, keep your glass containers out of the sand area. Our sand is beautiful, it's amazing. We like to keep it that way, and we don't want broken glass going in there. We don't want this turning into some of our other neighboring cities who had at one point just as good of a beach, and now they're not as good. So we don't want to turn into that, so please help us keep everything together. You've also got numerous amounts of spas. Now I know this is a pretty popular thing to do whenever you're on vacation, and we've got a lot of them here. In fact, one of my favorite places out of the box, I know it's completely different, is they've got a float spa, okay? So in Destin, it's called Float Brothers. Hopefully they haven't changed their name. I actually haven't gotten to get over there in quite a while, since before COVID, I think. I actually really miss it. I've been thinking about it a lot. But my point is, it's really cool. You just get in this Epsom salt water that is the same temperature as your skin. It's like your skin isn't even there. It just blends everything. You feel a cool chill for a split second, and then your whole body goes like the same temperature with the water, and you just float there. There's like 2,000 pounds of salt in this big egg-shaped container. You close it, you can shut off the lights, or you can put some, fun kind of calming lights going on. You can listen to music, you can throw on a meditation thing if that's what you're into. You can put on your own music. It's meant to just totally relax you. It takes a while. Give it a little bit of time if you go there, but it is a really good time. Well, I mean, it's a different kind of time. I'm not gonna say you're gonna get out of there and be like, whoa, that was awesome, right? But, well, actually, that's how I feel every time I get out of it. But it's different than like going out on the beach and all that good stuff. This is gonna be more relaxing. You're gonna come out. The first time I did it, I was in bliss. I remember driving home and I was like, you know what? If somebody T-boned me right now and ruined my car, wouldn't even care. Now, I think I would care. I think that would change my demeanor very quick, but that's how soothing and how great the experience was. Another great thing to do here is catch fish in whatever category you want. Destin is labeled the world's luckiest fishing village, and with very good reason. We have a lot of fishing out here, right? So you can take a charter, you can go out in deep water, you can take charters that are not deep water, you can take boats, you can fish off piers out here, you fish off the bridges. Just be mindful of where you're going. Make sure you look up the rules. I know there are a lot of rules as far as who can fish and if you need a fishing permit or a fishing license or not. There's a whole lot of rules. I'm not going to go into them now. That's going to be for a different video we'll do at a different time. Of course, for our last water activity that I would suggest is snorkeling or scuba diving. We've got a lot of this. In fact, just very, very recently, they just installed a whole bunch of artificial reefs right off the Gulf there, and they have different little things. With some of them are shaped like dolphins and like a star and like a rainbow. And artificial reef meaning that we made it ourselves, you know, to kind of create that wildlife. And they're really cool to go over there and go snorkeling in. I haven't actually gotten to go into any of these spots yet that they just created because I think it was like in the last 6 months, and just haven't had time. Real estate's been absolutely crazy. Which that segues me into my next question that we get asked a lot is, what do I do if I would like to live here or buy a vacation condo or a vacation home? Listen, if you guys have been watching the channel for a while, you know we are a real estate company first, and that's exactly what we help people do every single day. So whether you're looking for income producing cash cows that you can go vacation in from time to time whenever you want to, and then have it all be a tax write-off, of course, check with your accountant on all the rules on that. But if that's what you're looking for, we've got you covered. You can get a condo on the water. You can get a condo off the water. You can get a full family size home on the Gulf. You can get them on the Sound. The vacation condos and the vacation homes can be a great investment all in all. I just feel like sometimes there are better options out there. But if this is something that you like to do, or you want your vacations to be basically paid for, then that's kind of a good option to park your money. Now, of course, if you're not wanting to live in Destin, we do serve the entire Emerald Coast. So if you want to be just a way outside of the fun, well, watch some of our other videos. I'm sure that will kind of help you pinpoint down which city you might want to live in, and we can help you with single family homes, townhomes, just absolutely anything. All right, now what if you want to rent a vacation home or even rent a normal home? Well, with renting a vacation home, there's not a whole lot we can help with at all. I mean, I'll tell you to go to Airbnb.com and then VRBO.com. Those are going to be your two best options. I know if you search for it, there's going to be a lot of blogs out there, a lot of videos that are saying, call us. But if you call one particular company, you're only going to get that particular company's options. If you go to VRBO and Airbnb, generally that's going to open it up to a lot more. And if you're wanting to rent down here first to figure out which city you want to live in, or which area of town, well, that's something we can help with a little bit. Now, we can't do everything for you. We can't call, we can't schedule the rental showings or anything like that. That's done through a property manager, but we can get you a list of anything that is rentable in our area given certain parameters. So keep that in mind. Give us a call, text, or email for that kind of stuff. And of course, as I mentioned a second ago, if you are looking at purchasing in any capacity, call, text, email. We're getting lots of calls on this stuff, and there's a lot of really good options out there. So make sure you give us a shout. Now, we've got some other really good stuff, so don't turn away. Don't turn away. Don't do it. Don't do it. All right, what about the kids? The kids need something to do. We got to get the kids out of here so you can enjoy your vacation too, right? Don't worry. Tons of stuff to do with the kids, right? This is obviously a vacation town, so they've thought about it. They know you need a break. They know that you need to get them to go run some energy off. My favorite thing that I would suggest to people is Big Kahuna's water park. It is kind of our big, I don't know, awesome water park with lots of stuff. It looks kind of small when you're driving by. Then you actually get in there and you pay, and then you walk inside and you're like, whoa, this just keeps going on forever. And it does, and it's awesome. You've got the huge slides for the bigger kids, the ones that want to go like 100,000 miles an hour and do a bunch of spins and stuff. They've got that. They've got the ones with the inflatables, tons of pools. It's got kiddie pools around so that the little kiddos can splash around and stuff and just hang out with kids their age. You've got different rides that are not water related. You've got a big wave pool, obviously. You've got this, probably the largest pool I think I've ever seen ever. It's just like, it goes on forever. Like, it's huge. It's got like waterfall on one side. It's got like seating around it, and then it's got zero entry, so you just walk out kind of like a beach, except you're not on the beach. And then of course they've got adult beverages and things like that, so if you're looking for that. And then of course, you know, normal beverages and food and things like that as well. Oh, and a lazy river, which is like my favorite thing, but I've been to Big Kahuna's a few times. I never go to the lazy river. It's always so packed, you know, but Big Kahuna's is packed for a reason. It's a really good time. Oh, and then of course you can do the track. So if you like driving the go-karts, doing little racy things, you've got that. They've got bumper boats, I believe they are. I think they even have squirters on them. This is actually a little squirt gun on it. I've never actually been here. I've never like gone inside. Oh, and they have putt-putt too. But anyway, you can see it right from 98 as you're coming around the corner from kind of East Destin, and it looks like a really good time, and I feel like kids would love it. They probably have an arcade or something like that there, but like I said, I haven't been there yet. I've been here like 16 years. I haven't done everything yet, but I'm slowly working my way around. Like that's how much stuff there is to do here. And another off-the-wall thing you can do with your kids that kind of depends on the type of kids you have, but you can feed the alligators. They have restaurants called Fuddpuckers. They actually have a job that generally a 13 to 18-year-old kid does, at least every time I'm there. If there's older people doing it, I've missed it. But they're actually called alligator handlers. I can't make this stuff up. And they're small, they'll just kind of like go right here on your arm. Most of them are even smaller than that. You can generally just hold them in your hand, a little tail kind of wrapping around. Don't worry, they've got the mouth kind of closed with like a very soft, I don't know if it's silicone style thing or paper thing, but they're not going to bite you. They've got good control of them, and you can actually feed these alligators now. I think they take them off when you feed them. I'm actually thinking about it now, and I don't think I've ever noticed when they actually feed them, but I know that is an option to do it right there on the menu. So I'm going to have to try that next time I'm out there. And of course, if you've gone and fed the alligators, put a comment down below. I'd love to chat with you about it because that's kind of cool. And depending on how old your children are, parasailing is a phenomenal experience out there. They take you, kind of depending on how you do it, there's lots of different options. When I did it, you're on the back of one boat and you just kind of march, and then as it goes away, you just start floating away, and then you're 100, 150 feet in the air, and you're just seeing all of Destin and its beauty, seeing the harbor, you're seeing the Gulf of Mexico, the sound, just like everything, the high rises out, and well, high rises for us, which are like 20 floors, but the high rises out in Destin, everything out in Fort Walton, which is not high rises. You just see everything for miles and miles and miles. It's so cool. It's a good time. You can go up there with multiple people. They've got 2-seaters. I think they even have 3- and 4-seaters that they'll take you on. It's a really good time for some of the older kids, even some of the younger kids. I think you can do it like pretty young. I don't know if most like 8-year-olds are going to enjoy that. They probably do. And another great thing is bowling. So if you're looking to get out of the sun, I know we mentioned a lot of stuff that's in the sun and then a few things that are not, but bowling, they've got what's called the fish bowl up in East Destin. It's really cool. It feels like you're kind of in a fish bowl. Everything is fish themed. It comes out of a shark's mouth. The bowling ball does. Got a little arcade there, a restaurant, a spot to get drinks, a bar, and then it's located also right in Destin Commons. So if you're looking to go shopping and then bring the kiddos over to bowling and kind of disguise it as their idea, this might be a pretty good option for you. So you can wear them out, you can get your shopping done. We did do a video on this as well. I know I say that a lot in these, but it was right during COVID. A lot of stuff was shut down. It's getting back up, so don't worry. There's lots of shopping out there, lots of fun things to do. Another question we get asked all the time is, can I bring my furry friend or shoot off fireworks at the beach or drive my car at the beach? Probably a weird combination of things I just mentioned. Please, I hope you're not bringing your dog to the beach and wanting to shoot fireworks as well, but either way, you can't or you shouldn't, because it's not, they don't allow it. It's against city ordinance. I'm not sure like what kind of legal trouble you can get for any of that. Don't bring the fireworks to the beach. Don't bring your 4-legged friend to the beach. You do need a permit for some of our other neighboring cities. You can get on the beach in a couple of those, but in Destin, there is not a single spot that I'm aware of that you can get on the actual beach that's on the actual Gulf of Mexico. There might be some options for like Bayside or, in some of the canals and things like that. And another one we get asked, generally from people that are still kind of like in lockdown from COVID, is COVID still around? Nope. I mean, is it still in the air or like however that works? Yeah, a lot of people vaccinated. I have no idea where that stands. That's something you might have to Google. I don't know, at least in comparison to the rest of the country. But I know for the most part, masks are gone. I used to carry one in my back pocket. Oh, actually I have one in these shorts. But I've taken them out of most of my shorts and jeans. I haven't had to use one in a very long time. In certain medical facilities, you might have to use them, but that's the only place that I know. And you will still see some people doing it in grocery stores. Like it's more common there than just about any other place that I've been. But other than that, nope. But if you want to wear your mask, you want to do the social distancing thing, you want to do any of that, you absolutely can't. It's your prerogative. People probably aren't going to say anything to you, but keep in mind this is the South, so you just never know. All right, I actually saved these two for last because we actually get these more often than any of the other ones. I know, I should have put it at the beginning. I didn't. But these are the two most commonly asked questions other than, well, no, the restaurant thing. Restaurant thing's pretty good and things to do. Doesn't matter. My point is, what's wildlife out there? Namely, alligators. We get a lot of questions on alligators and sharks. Those are the two most common things. But I do want to add a couple other things, particularly for you people that are moving down here or thinking about living here. So sharks, yes, we have them. Yes, you will see them. Yes, you will probably actually see them, not just on a video. If you go to the beach enough, you'll see the little fin hitting out of the water. Sometimes it's dolphins, sometimes it's a shark. Hammerheads are pretty common. You'll see a lot of videos of those floating around. And you'll even see them go right up to people and go right on by. For the most part, you know, the chances of getting bit by a shark is pretty low, but, you know, obviously be safe and don't play with the wildlife. Alligators. Never see them unless you go to Fudpuckers, like ever. And we have a lot of people reach out and ask like, how often am I gonna see it? I saw this video of this 10-foot alligator. Like, I've never seen that, except Fudpuckers and of course the golf course. So those of you that like golfing, there are certain ones in certain parks. In fact, there's one right here in my town. I'm actually right next to Destin in Fort Walton Beach that I go to, and there is one that's known over there, but he stays away from everybody. He's maybe 3 feet long, nothing too crazy. Hangs on the edge of the water. He hears you, he sees you, he just goes right back in and cruises on out or just continues to sunbathe. For the most part, that's how it is. So when you see these videos of these like alligators like latched onto the side of a house or swimming in somebody's pool, extremely rare. I'm guessing it could happen. I don't know anybody it's ever happened to. Never heard of a story of it happening to anybody that I know. So I guess it could happen. But there is one thing I want to mention, kind of a downfall. Palmetto bugs. Okay, these things are roaches. I know, if you're like a bug expert, you're gonna be like, it's not a roach, it's nothing like a roach at all. They're called palmetto bugs, and they look like a roach, except they're like 37 pounds. They're huge. They're not 37 pounds, they're like this big sometimes. And it's crazy. Then you get these little tiny ones. I know those are technically cockroaches or whatever. We have them out here. They're very easy to contain, extremely easy actually. I just pay a service to come out once a quarter and sweep my house. I'll never see them. I don't like them. They're one of my most hated things. When I see a grown man squeal, get me near one of these palmetto bugs or a roach. And we even have flying roaches from time to time. I haven't seen one in a really long time, but I have seen it before. Then of course, like a lot of places in the United States, we have snakes, and we've got all the other normal stuff, spiders, whatever, all the icky, crickly, you know, crickly, is that a word? Those icky, crawly things. We've got them. They're not that prevalent. If you keep your house good, you keep your condo good, you'll never notice it. Especially if you're in Destin, you're in the main parts of the city, you'll probably never even notice it's out there. It's really only if you go to some of the outer cities and, you know, kind of do any of the nature style stuff, then you might see them there. And last but not least, hurricanes. I get asked about hurricanes a lot. They're not that bad. But so I've been here a long time and I've been through a lot of hurricanes. Now I just missed the big one that happened in 2005. I missed it by about a year, 6 months, something like that. Now that one was pretty big. That one hit us pretty hard. So like the stuff that you see on the news where you're like, wow, that was leveled pretty good. That was us for a little bit. And it was just portions of our area. And most of it was like the coastal stuff. So Destin got hit pretty good, Fort Walton Beach, you know, not getting into it, but you generally evacuate for all of that. And especially, you know, if you're living here full time, you kind of know when it's dangerous, when it's not. Now there are certain exclusions. Sometimes it'll be at Cat 3 and it's just hanging out in the Gulf and just getting angrier and angrier. But then everybody's like, no, it's just a Cat 3, it'll be fine. And then all of a sudden it takes a turn and you're like, what just happened? And now it's Category 5. Everybody's freaking out. It's best to put in your own rules in place. Make sure that you have hurricane kits in your house. You're probably going to lose power. Yes, it's windy. It feels like a storm. But here we actually can't normally tell a difference between a normal storm and a Category 3 hurricane. You start getting in the Category 4, Category 5, yes, it's a little bit more scary. You're wondering, is your roof going to hold on? You know, things like that. So just make sure that you're getting out of it, especially if you're in one of the zones that is a little bit more prone to have damage. Basically, if you're near the water, get out of it. If you're on the Sound or on one of the islands, get off the island. You know, I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory, but every year we have people that stay and every year there's problems. But hurricanes, for the most part, they're easy to outrun. You know they're coming for about a week. You're watching it. People are talking about it. They're like, hey, we're getting out of here, you know, whatever. Just don't wait until the last minute if you can help it, because traffic does get pretty backed up as people are leaving. But really, most of the time, it's not that bad, especially if you're like a mile inland or further. And that, it'll hit you, it'll go through, it'll be windy for a long time, be lots of wind, maybe it'll cause some damage. It's part of the Florida experience. Just leave. Stay in a hotel like an hour away or 3 hours away. Or visit family. You know, use this as an impromptu vacation to get away from the hurricane. And you can definitely do it. It's very easy to do. So those are the most frequently asked questions we get here, being locals in Destin, Florida. Whew, that was a lot. I actually expected this to be a very short video. I appreciate it if you've made it all the way to the end. Hit that like button if you did. And please comment down below, what is your favorite part about Destin if you've lived here before. Give the people that are listening to this video a chance to go down in the comments and read what your personal experiences are. That would be amazing. And of course, we love chatting with you guys. So, well, listen, until next time, see ya.